So any other types of comic art that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, I did want to sort of, and I'll move this out of the way. What I wanted to make some room here for is showing you the difference between large art and what we call small art. So this is to modern day, around 1968 or a little bit before this, they switched the dimensions to this size as being the standard. And as you can see, this is a more modern piece of comic art. Really hasn't changed. I think the dimensions of the page, for the most part, the borders in here are about 10 by 15, and basically 11 by 17 type piece of paper. But before that, and you see this from the 1960s and before, up all the way back to the 40s, is what we call large art. And if you can make some room over there, show you some examples here of some large art pages. Now here is a page from the reintroduction of Hawkman back in, I believe it was 1961 or 1962. And this was signed by Joe Kubert. So sometimes you do find hints as to who it was because afterwards the artist would actually sign it. So this was penciled and inked by Joe Kubert. Some very cool notes around here that you'll also find.
Yeah.
But this is a DC Comics or a National Comics, which it was called at the time. As you can see, sort of National and DC. They have it both written on there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a Marvel Comics page. So this is a page by Steve Ditko from Spider-Man number 10. It's the end page where J. Jonah Jameson reveals why he hates Spider-Man. And so it's actually a great page to read. A lot going on this page, but I think when you actually read it, it's a fantastic story all on one page. But that being said, if you compare this to the size of this Captain America page, you'll see that it actually is much larger, and the size of the image is much larger.
Yeah.
So from a collectability perspective, again, having this larger art can be more impressive. But again, something you don't have necessarily control over.
Yeah, sure. And I assume that there's less large art in general just because it's the older material?
Yeah, I think it depends on what area you collect. So if you collect modern art, you may find a cover that's still this size. Covers, I would say, are a little bit more variable in size. But yes, if you're collecting artwork from the 1960s and before, all of it will be pretty much this size.
Yeah.
Still some exceptions to the rule, but it just depends on what you're looking for.